Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am here with my co-host from Mindset Monday, Dave Bergio. Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm
Awesome.
good. So
Here.
one of the things I wanted to go over today, it's a little different, but I think it really helps, is separators. There are things that you do that are so, I want to say, standard in your life or my life, and they're things that you do automatically that help you push past and push forward. And you don't realize you do most of these things because it's automatic, right? And when I tell other people, hey, this is what I do, it's actually hard for me to articulate because I'm just so used to it. And I don't think it's something that is a separator. So I want to bring some of those to light that other people that are listening to this can use to grow, to do better, to be better. And I think it does fall into having the right mindset and having the right approach. All right. So guys, these are things that I have done subconsciously, essentially, that have made a big difference. And a lot of it does tie in with certain elements of 75 hard, but these are things I've always done, and it makes a big difference. So I'm going to get into them now. First, waking up and hopping into cold plunge. All right. If you don't have it, you can set up a cold tub or just an ice bath any way possible. Now, here's why I do it. Right. I am very physically active. And yeah, it helps with inflammation and all this other stuff physically. And there's uh, some science behind it. Helps you uh, change or burn off some fat. But that's not why I do it. What I've found is that when I do that, I have a lot more energy and I'm in an elevated mood or better mood throughout the day. And I'm in a better mood throughout the day and I can handle stress better. Okay. And that's the reality is that's why I do it. Everyone wants to talk about the physical, but for me, the mental benefits have far outweighed any type of physical gain. All right. The next thing that I do is I make sure that before I get to the office, I get a workout in. So I work out anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour. And I typically do that after the cold exposure. All right. Another thing that I do is if I know my day starts at 8 or my day starts at 9, and I've done this since I was like 22 years old. Okay. I've always been in the office an hour to a half hour before, setting up my day. This way, when I'm ready to go, I'm ready to go. Okay. I've always used a calendar. That calendar, I live and die by my calendar. Okay. If it's not in the calendar, it ain't happening. All right. Uh, and I really don't answer the phone too often. You have to text me. Why? Because I don't want to break the train of thought and what I'm actively doing and what I'm actively trying to accomplish to answer random phone calls. Right. A lot of times I'm in meetings or I'm on the phone with a client that's scheduled. So everything else falls to the wayside and I get back to people as soon as I can. All right. These things have helped. And let's just say, I want to go through a whole list of them and I'm not done. But one of the things I also do is Sunday night, right? Sunday night, I plan out all my content for the week. It usually takes me an hour or two. I schedule out all the posts. Um, and I'm basically on autopilot. Okay. I plan on Sundays and I execute Monday through Friday. The other things that I do that is a little different, I meal prep. I meal prep everything on Sunday, and then I have meals. I basically eat the same fucking thing at the office every day. I don't do it. It's not so much as saving money. It's more I just don't want to leave the office for that hour to go get lunch and go find that. That time is too valuable for me to go and leave the office. That's the truth. And I know what I'm putting in my body because I cooked it at home. All right. So a lot of everything that I'm telling you guys about, it's about being mentally on top of it, physically on top of it, because if you are right all the way around and all encompassing, meaning your family life's right, your spiritual life is right, you're physically right, your head space is right, you're going to perform at a higher level. So these are all things that I have done over the last few years to help me do this, to help me perform at this level, right? So let's take it to the end of day wrap up. All right. Because this is something that I don't see a lot of people doing. if you ever notice or you ever get a kind of picture of my office, you'll always see yellow pads, okay? And what I'm doing, with that is I write down every client that needs my attention the following day and where they are in the process and what I need to do. So when I come in the next day, I have everything lined up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to rock, and I'm not thinking, what do I need to do? Who do I need to call? That's all there. And in addition to the clients I need to touch, okay, I look at like Andy has his power list. I've been setting a power list for a very long time, and it's things that move my company or me forward in a major way that take a good amount of time. So I'll give you an example. This weekend, what I did was part of my Sunday routine, I was cranking out a lot of content and a lot of videos that were already pre-recorded, and now my team just takes them, edits them, and schedules them out, right? So I am trying to operate as efficiently as possible at all times. And then what I do for a wrap up, right? And this is important. This is part about being present. And I feel I apologize for speaking so much, but there's a lot that I do that I find other people just don't do. When I get home, I make sure I'm spending that time with my wife and my kids. Okay. Typically, if I get home at let's say 7:30, we're eating dinner, and then we're hanging out and doing something. And then when they go to bed, that's when the second part of my routine comes in. All right. And I pray, then I read, and then I visualize. Pray, read, visualize. I'm putting good things in my mind and I'm visualizing before I go to sleep. And sometimes I'll even visualize, like if I'm doing a cold exposure or if I'm doing a sauna, I'll visualize how I want the day to go there. Right. And these are just certain separators that I do that allow me to perform at a much higher level. Dave, what do you have on this?
Couldn't have said it any better than what you did, but I switched mine up a little bit. A lot of that stuff you do at night, I kind of reverse a little bit and do in the morning. For me, very similar, except, and this isn't to brag because I hate it. It sucks. I do it because I have no choice but to wake up at 4. Right. So I get up at 4, my gratitude and a little bit of meditation silence starts right away. It's how you get for me, it's how I get my thoughts in line for, you don't know what you're going to expect that day. You can have a great day. You can have a shitty day. Doesn't matter. But if you get your mindset right and early, get a little prayer time in and so forth, it makes everything for me more systematic throughout the day. So if something bad happens, it's not a big deal. Something great happens, it's great. We're not going to dwell on it too much. We're just going to keep it moving. You have your yellow pads. We have a lot of our CRM that we use that we keep in, so we know who's touching what, and we can see it across the board. You spend a little late night time with your kids, which is great. Mine are a little younger, so they go to bed earlier. So I try to get that in a little earlier with them. And then my second workout of the day, because after all that stuff in the morning, it's off to the gym. Beat yourself down, get ready for that day. Usually in the morning when I'm with my son, I'm getting a lot of that time in because I have to with him starting late for school. But late at night, you have your whole workflow, work your schedule. Don't let your schedule work you, right? And that's a big thing. And I used to be terrible at that, man. Like if you don't have it written down, have your time blocks, have a systematic approach, you're all over the place. Your time isn't spent wisely. It's just a mess. But I like to get lost in kind of like my own thoughts later at night when everybody's slowed down. So I'll go out for my second workout. It's pitch black. There's nobody outside. I'll hit the trail, hear some crazy shit in the woods. But that works for me, man. And it's like I reflect on great things that happened that day, things that went wrong, what can go better, what can we improve on, and just feel grateful to have that opportunity again, and then thinking ahead of tomorrow. But I think the most important thing for anybody is, and as I'm writing a bunch of stuff down here from you speaking as well, is number one, you got to get into the habit. You got to start somewhere, because you may be hearing us talk about this and like, holy shit, I got to do all this all at once. Like,
it's not all at once.
Right.
It's just implementing little things, guys. Think about it like this,
right,
David.
exactly.
I'm glad you brought that up. Right? I gave you a whole laundry list of things. Okay. If you go and try to adapt to every little thing that I just said today, it's never going to last.
No.
Okay. So write everything down that we went over. Pick one, implement it this week. Do it for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, and you have no problem doing that, implement another. Let that run for another 2 weeks. Now you have two habits. Add a third, add a fourth. And now all of a sudden you're going in a top speed, and it's by making these little tiny adjustments along the way.
Yeah, man. Correlate it like the gym guys. Like, you're not gonna go and bench a ridiculous amount of weight if you haven't done it in years. Okay. You're not gonna go do 10 different exercises in that hour and get it done effectively. You're probably gonna die halfway through, no offense. But you got to slowly increase into that. It's not going to happen that way. Then even worse, you're going to get discouraged. You're going to be like, how does this work? How does this work for these guys when I can't do it? And then you're going to stop. But you just got to create the habits. That's it. Write it down. Start with those small little steps, small little wins.
Absolutely. Well, guys, listen, I'm sure you got a ton of value out of this one. Do us a favor, share it, comment, drop somebody that needs to hear it. Please just share this, get this out. We're just trying to help as many people as we can. We appreciate you. We'll see you on Financial Fitness Friday.